All right, so this is a lateral view of the left hemisphere of your brain. In other words, it's a side view of the left half of your brain. You can see it's separated into four parts. The first one is called the frontal lobe, and it's indicated here in yellow. One of the things that this part of your brain does is it helps control your motor movements, like taking a step or snapping your fingers. Then you have this green area called the parietal lobe. One of the things that it does is it interprets all your sensory information. So, like if you were to touch a hot stove. Then you have this blue area right here, which is called the occipital lobe. It's in the back of your brain and it interprets all of your visual stimuli. So, anything that you see or anything that your eyes take in. Then you have the temporal lobe down below. It's here in pink. And one of the functions that it serves is processing your auditory information or anything that you hear. You'll also notice some of these darker lines. These are just features that help us kind of position where the lobes are in the brain. It helps us find those. So this one right here is called the central sulcus. Sulcus is just a fun word to describe fissures or crevices in the brain. And so the central sulcus separates the frontal lobe from the parietal lobe. Then you have the Sylvian fissure right here, and that separates the temporal lobe from the parietal lobe and the frontal lobe. Then you have this preoccipital notch. It's a handy dandy little notch that separates the temporal lobe from the occipital lobe. And finally, an imaginary line called the parieto-occipital sulcus that helps separate the parietal lobe from the occipital